Hello, everybody. I'm Hank Joseph. Each week we have an expert-lined panel to dissect the latest sports news from some of the nation's most elite college programs here in Bloomington to the biggest stadiums and stages around the world. Stick around because we have a great show coming up on the Toss Up. Finally, the preseason hype, the off-season drama, and the constant question of how will this affect LeBron's legacy can be put on pause for the next 6 months. Yes, the NBA season begins next week, and hopefully we can be here to answer many of those questions heading into another NBA season. Another NBA season in which Ben Simmons still can't shoot a three-pointer. So welcome to the panel, Kennedy Reclaw, Ethan Maisel, and Lionel Smilyansky. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
So, Kennedy, let's get right into it. Which team this offseason improved their roster the most?
You know, I'm going to have to be a little biased. I am an Ohioan, so I am going to take the Cavs for this one. I think they picked up the all-star guard. We got Mitchell coming in. They got rid of Colin Sexton. I think he was causing a little bit of conflict. He was disagreeing with his salary, with his contract, so I think getting rid of him was the right move at the end of the day. There's still a young roster to support Mitchell, and I think that maybe not this season, but upcoming seasons, they're going to be successful again.
Yeah, a lot to build on in Cleveland after last year. Ethan, what about you?
I really like what Cleveland did, but I'm going to go with the Hawks. The Hawks, they added DeJounte Murray. They got Onyeka Okongwu, who I think is going to have a breakout year. It's going to be a good year to be a Hawks fan.
Oh, yeah, it is. Absolutely. We'll talk plenty about the Hawks today, Ethan. Lionel, what about yourself?
A little bit of a flying under the radar type of team. I like the Pistons to have improved the roster the most. Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and prior to this injury, Marvin Bagley. I think most people don't realize the star power that those rookies can bring in. They might not be a playoff team, of course, but I think they can definitely improve significantly on their record last year.
Yeah, it didn't feel like there were really too many teams that made huge splash signings. That kind of happened last offseason. I'll stick with the team that just went to the NBA Finals, the Boston Celtics. They went out and got Malcolm Brogdon, signed Blake Griffin just to have a little bit more depth behind Al Horford. Obviously, his years are kind of past, but still some good additions. And, I think Brogdon's one of the better guards, especially backups, in the league. Lionel, let's go back to you. Which rookie do you expect to have the biggest impact on their team this season?
My answer to that question is probably the most pro-ready rookie of all of them, Keegan Murray. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the oldest in the draft class, but I mean, he's ready to go. We all saw his performances for Iowa. Took it to the Hoosiers in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
But really, he's going to be great.
Yeah, he certainly took it to the Hoosiers last year. We'll go back this way, Ethan.
I'm going to go with Jaden Ivey. I think he's a bigger guard. He can play next to Cade. He's all ready to start the entire season and have a great year for the Pistons.
Absolutely. Let's hope, that he can stay healthy. Summer League, obviously, injury happened. Kennedy, what about yourself?
I think I'm going to have to agree with Keegan Murray from Iowa. I think, like he said, NBA ready. I think coming in as an older player, he's still able to perform offensively and defensively. So I think he's going to bring the team to maybe a little playoff run. So we'll see.
I'm going to go with, kind of a hometown guy in the Indiana area, Benedict Mathurin. I think that Indiana obviously kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel this season with just the roster that they have in place. But I think that he's going to be a very, very good 2-3 guard, maybe even a forward in the NBA. So big, so explosive. Really liked what he did in the Summer League. Ethan, let's start with you. What player has the most to prove? I think in the NBA, that's always a huge question. Somebody always, has a chip on their shoulder. So who is that for you this year?
I think it's Kyrie Irving. He's going into a contract year. This is the one year where if he was going to choose any year to have a great season, this is it. This is his last time to cash in, make like $200 million. This is it. This is Kyrie's year.
Okay, absolutely. Lionel, what about yourself?
For me, it was between Ben Simmons and Zion. I'm going to go with Zion. I mean, I can't recall many people getting paid $200 million for not having played almost 2 full seasons. Mm-hmm. People were clowning him. He put on so much weight. They were saying he can't play in the NBA like this. But he lost all that weight. He looks good. He looks really, really good. And I think the Pelicans can be an under-the-radar contender this year.
We just got to see him look good on the court. That is the key.
Yeah.
Kennedy, what about you?
Well, sticking to what you said, looking on the court, I'm going to take Ben Simmons. I think there was a lot of controversy around him last year. There was a lot going down on his name. I think we saw him force the trade. We saw him struggle with mental and physical health. So I think this year we're waiting to see that on the court. Let's see if his words add up to his play, and let's see some skill.
Absolutely. I'll go with Joel Embiid, a guy who always has been talking the talk. That's kind of who he is. He's a very confident player. Hasn't gotten it done in the playoffs and has yet to shoot over 50% from the field as a center. Obviously, he takes a lot of jumpers. We understand that. He's a great shooter. But not shooting over 50% as a center is kind of crazy to me. I think that he can take that team to the next level, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the 76ers here in that next segment. So we talked about the Dodgers. Let's look at the Lakers as well. Which older squad, the Dodgers, I meant the Nets, excuse me. I don't know why I was thinking of Brooklyn Dodgers. That's crazy. What older squad can make it through the season healthier this year? Kennedy, I'll start with you.
I'm going to take the Nets, as we just talked about. We talked about Irving. We talked about Simmons. I think the issue with the Lakers is Anthony Davis. We haven't seen him be healthy all the way through a season in a hot minute. I think that trend's going to continue. I think LeBron is aging. I think that a 70-game season on him is a lot to carry individually. So I think with the deep roster of the Nets, I think that there's just a little bit more spread of the need for the play. And I just think that less players are going to take the wear and tear and hopefully stay healthy for longer. So I'm going to take the Nets.
Okay, Ethan?
I'm going to agree. I think the Nets are going to be better this year. KD tried to get out of there, but no one could pay his price. So I think it's the Nets.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with Kennedy and Ethan. I'm going to take the Nets also. Kennedy mentioned LeBron. He's aging. I think the bigger question mark there is Anthony Davis. He can't stay healthy. He just can't. And Russell Westbrook, obviously, so much hate on him. But also people forget that the Nets didn't have Joe Harris at all last year. Probably, arguably, the best three-point shooter in the NBA statistically. So having him back will be huge. And the defense that Ben Simmons provides, obviously, will be a big factor as well.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving have only played 40 games together, ever. And they've been on the Nets, each for 2 years now. And LeBron and AD last year, they only played 22 games together. So that obviously hurts a lot. LeBron, really aging now, went with the bald cut. So that's going to be fun to see out there on the court. Wow, a lot happened with the Golden State Warriors, Ethan. This, within the past week, 2 weeks now, can they shake off that shaky preseason and return to the top for the 5th time?
I think they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they traded Draymond once they pay Poole.
Okay.
The luxury tax on them would be nearly $1 billion at that point. So I think they might trade Draymond. They'll figure it out, though. It's the Warriors. They're going to be right back on top this year.
Trade Draymond. I did not expect to hear that. Kennedy, what do you think?
I'm thinking, I agree. I do think that they're going to overcome it. I think that they're not laying all their cards out on the table just quite yet in that preseason. I think they still have a lot to prove. There is a lot of conflict on the team, as we've seen. As you were saying, Draymond, I think they have some things to work out within the team, but I think once they get it going, get some real games out on the floor, I think they can pull it together.
Yeah, some internal discussions, Lionel. Is that what we say?
Just like Ethan said, they're going to figure it out. And also, hopefully, big jumps from Wiseman and Kuminga this year. That will be a huge help for them.
Absolutely. It should be, and Moses Moody as well.
Yep.
Okay, last question in this segment. I think I might know what everybody's going to say, but Lionel, I'll start with you. Who has the tougher competition, the East or the West?
It's got to be the East. Okay. It just has to be. I can go off, list all the teams. I'm not going to, but there's most of the MVP candidates are arising from the East also. Tatum, Giannis, Embiid,
yep.
all these guys. It's going to be a real hard-fought battle. Thankfully, for the play-in tournament, 2 extra teams can somehow save their chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely the East.
Kennedy, same.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the East as well. I think historically the West, in the past years, has been the more competitive conference. However, this year we are seeing the powerhouses. I think there's just more teams at a chance of the playoffs in the East than there is the West.
And the Cavs are in the East,
of
obviously. Ethan?
I'm going to go with the East as well, yeah. Everyone just got better or stayed the same. East is better.
Absolutely. Coming up after the break, we have Hoosiers in the pros with Zion and Lindsey, and we give our quick fire predictions heading to the end of the season. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We now send it over to Zion Lindsey with updates on our favorite Hoosiers in the pros. Zion?
Thanks, Hank. How's it going, Hoosier Nation? I'm Zion Lindsey. With the start of the NBA season, we look at some Hoosiers in the pros. Starting off, Eric Gordon, a former top 10 pick, is going into his 7th season with the Houston Rockets and 15th in the NBA. Gordon will be a leader on a young and developing Rockets team. He played 1 season with the Hoosiers, averaging almost 21 points a game and leading the team to an NCAA tournament. Victor Oladipo, a former top 3 draft pick, is entering his 10th season in the league and is on the contending Miami Heat squad. Oladipo is a former 2-time All-Star and played 3 seasons with the Hoosiers. He took the team to back-to-back Sweet 16s along with teammate Cody Zeller, who we look at next. Zeller is a top 5 pick and was a top 5 pick in the same draft as Oladipo. Zeller is going to his 10th season in the league and first with the rebuilding Utah Jazz. Zeller started for the Hoosiers in 2 seasons alongside Oladipo. Next, we look at former champion OG Anunoby. Anunoby is going to his 6th season with the Toronto Raptors and will be a key factor for another NBA championship. Anunoby played in 2 seasons with the Hoosiers, including being a key player in a Sweet 16 appearance. Finally, we look at Thomas Bryant. Going into his 6th season in the league, Bryant will be a key factor for a contending Los Angeles Lakers squad. He was a defensive threat for the Hoosiers and led the team to a Sweet 16 appearance alongside Anunoby. Good luck to all our pro Hoosiers. Hank, back to you.
Thanks, Zion. Wow, 15 years for Eric Gordon already. Time really does fly. Okay, guys, so let's get into some end-of-the-year awards, some predictions. Kennedy, I'll start with you. Who is your 2022-2023 league MVP?
I'm going to have to keep it simple. I'm going to go Giannis. I think you can't go against him. We all love him. So, yeah, Giannis.
Okay, absolutely. Ethan?
I'm going to go Luka. I think this is his year that he finally takes over the MVP award.
Yeah, Luka's going to be, I think, a hot name in the betting streets for the MVP. What about you, Lionel?
Piggybacking off what you said earlier, I think it's got to be Joel Embiid. He's got to prove himself. This is going to be the year.
Okay, and I will go with Trae Young. He's been working with Steph Curry's trainer in the offseason. DeJounte's going to open up the floor for him. It's going to be an incredible season, 30-10. He'll be averaging that. Okay, so we talked about most impactful rookie, but now I want to talk about, this is sort of an individual award. Who is your rookie of the year, Lionel?
If I were not to go with Keegan Murray, who I answered earlier, I'm going to go with Shaedon Sharpe. He sat a year on Kentucky's bench, learned from one of the best coaches in college basketball history. He's young. He's explosive, man. And we just amazing dunk last night, alley-oop, one-handed finish. He's going to be an exciting watch for probably tanking Blazers team. I think he'll be a reason to keep your eyes on the screen this year.
Absolutely. Him and Dame should be a lot of fun. Ethan?
I'm going to stick with Jaden Ivey. I think he's going to put up the numbers you need for Rookie of the Year on also a tanking Pistons team. So, Jaden Ivey.
Kennedy?
I'll take Murray again. We talked about him earlier. I think it would be really cool to see one of the older guys take the award. So, yeah, we'll stick to Keegan.
Okay, I'll take the number 1 overall pick. If y'all are going to serve him to me on a silver platter, give me Paolo Banchero. I mean, he's going to be a stud on a team that really only kind of has him and Wagner. Yeah, that's pretty much it on the Magic from what I can see. Ethan, I'll start with you. Who is your defensive player of the year?
I'm going to go with Giannis. He hasn't won in a couple years. It's probably his time to take over defensive player of the year as they try and get back.
Absolutely. I think he's 3rd in the odds right now. Lionel?
Someone who plays amazing defense every year, Robert Williams, the Time Lord. I mean, he's just a monster. I think he wins the award this year.
Okay, Kennedy.
I'm going to take Rudy Gobert.
Yep.
I think there's only 2 others who have 4 Defensive Player of the Year, so I think it'd be cool to see him add to the collection, so why not?
Yeah, I mean, he's like the only person on the Timberwolves that really plays defense, so it seems like they're just going to be funneling it all into him, obviously. Who, Kennedy, do you have making it out of the Eastern Conference this season?
I'm going to have to take the Celtics. I think we saw them last year. There's a little bit of vengeance that they're trying to bring back. Like you said, they brought in Brogdon this year from the Pacers. I think they have a little bit to prove. I think they want to prove it, and I just think that they can make it out of this year.
Okay, Ethan?
I'm going to take the Bucks. I think they bring it back to the finals how they were 2 years ago. I think it's the Bucks' time again.
Okay, and Lionel?
I've got Philly. Tyrese Maxey takes that next step. Tobias Harris is a key contributor. DeAnthony Melton, under the radar guy that they added this offseason. I like the Sixers.
This is awesome. Give me the Nets. You guys are just serving them up to me. Give me the Nets. Give me Ben Simmons doing what he does and literally just playing defense, hopefully, and passing the ball a lot. Western Conference, Ethan, I'll start with you.
I'm going to take the Nuggets. They're fully healthy for the first time in like 2 years since the bubble. They got Jamal Murray back. They got MPJ back. The Nuggets are going to be an offensive weapon this year.
Has to be this year for the Nuggets, you kind of feel like. Kennedy, what about you?
I'm going to go with the Warriors. I know we saw it last year. I think we can see a consecutive year with two of the same teams. I think, yes, there's a little bit of preseason, hubbub, I guess you could say. But I think once they work it out, like we talked about earlier, they can pull through.
Yeah, maybe it'll bring them closer,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
right.
absolutely. Lionel, what about yourself?
I have to say, I love Ethan's pick, Denver. Jamal Murray is finally healthy. MPJ is finally healthy. And, I mean, Jokic is just a one-of-a-kind basketball player. I think they finally have these guys healthy since the bubble. So it's got to be their year, like you said.
Yeah, I like that. I think the Mavs are like the best regular season team in the world, but I don't think that they have enough. So give me the Warriors as well, Jordan Poole. Those guys grow up, Kuminga, Wiseman, we'll see. And finally, the question we've all been waiting for. Lionel, who is your 2022-2023 NBA champion?
So I'm not sure how many good ratings a Philly versus Denver finals would get, but I have Philly making it out of there, and I'd give them Philly in 6 over the Nuggets.
Okay, I like that. Ethan?
I'm going to take the Bucks. I think the Bucks would do it in 5.
Okay. Kennedy?
I'm going to take the Warriors. I know we're seeing it again, like I said, from last year, the same two teams this year, but I think there's not going to be a change in that outcome. So, yeah, Warriors.
And I have to pick between the Warriors and the Nets. So I'm going to go, I'll go with the Nets. Just maybe. Maybe it'll happen. I don't know. Maybe Katie can do it, finally. Guys, well, thank you all so much, for being here. And that does it for the show this week. Be sure to continue the discussion and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at IUSTV Sports. With that, there's one thing left to do, so toss it up, find out if we'll catch it, and we'll see you next week.